Hello and welcome back to Gargames. Another temple level. Great. I guess we're just gonna see if this one's gonna be as hard as the last one was. Hopefully, again, I hope I just don't drag this out too long, because that would be a real drag to do, wouldn't it? I don't know. There are times when I think I do know, but I just don't know. Can we really know anything in life? Or are the certainties that we think are certainties are just something we come across and we decide this is a real thing, this is what I'm basing my life philosophy around, etc. And I'm just going to do that. And even though it may not be a certainty, certainly certain, we decide it is a certainty because everyone wants stability in their lives, everyone wants some kind of routine. That is why anarchy, true blue anarchy, wouldn't really work, because chaos is beyond our understanding, and even our ideas of chaos have some sort of structure and form to them. Everybody has a social construct that they adhere to, rules that are adhered to, and dare I say, religious in a way. Very interesting. I'm not even sure why I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I think maybe it's because I'm starting to get older and I'm realizing that there are certain things that I believe in that I want to live out more, and there are certain just a structured way of living that I want. Yeah, too long didn't read. I'm really learning how to settle down and know myself, know how I want to live, where I want to live, what I want to do with what I want to do as a profession, and be okay with that. And constantly stop second guessing myself. The search for a life really should end. And I again, this is total. Like I was saying earlier, it's a total personal conviction. It may not be universal at all, but I feel that within a year or so, I really do have to figure out my life completely and be at peace with it. I'll be 30 and uh, be out of my teens, out of my 20s. The years of experimentation and trying to find yourself are over for me. Some people may not be that stable and secure. Maybe that's the wrong phrasing to use. I don't mean to offend anybody with that, but yeah, that's just how I feel, and it's more. It really has become more than a feeling to me. It is what I know, and that's great. Because for so long, I would just be relatively stable. I would say I just would definitely waffle on a lot of subjects and have a lot of visions I never even tried to carry out. Broke a lot of promises. I'm sure I've hurt people. It's fair to say that's a guarantee, even if I've never really been conscious of repercussions, etc. I've hurt people, and that stinks because definitely a running theme in my life has been that I don't want to hurt people. I want to do conscious, aware. I want to do good, concrete good to those people that are closest to me, that I have actual interactions with, and I want to be in good conscience that I've at the very least made a positive impression on people who I just happen to pass by, either as a decently sized equate or a decently an acquaintance that I know for a decent amount, like say people I have, people I work at a short-time job with, or people I attended class with, something like that, or even those people that I've passed by on the streets, airports, whatever. However brief the encounter, I really do want to be good to people, and I know that as imperfect, flawed human beings, we're just not going to get that. I know that, but there's no sense in not trying to raise yourself up higher, hold yourself to a high, near impossible standard. I think the thing is to know that you aren't going to make it, and there's grace and mercy and forgiveness ultimately. But with that being said, that's no excuse to sink into apathy and to not care. You gotta care. You gotta have an opinion about something. You really do. Even if that opinion is not particularly unique or not well received, validation river. Oh boy, here we go again. Oh, how the heck? I know some people are saying just run, but it's like I can't do that. But anyway, yeah, you just gotta try for things, and it really truly is better to regret something you did do versus something you didn't do. That's what I've realized too is that it hasn't necessarily been like say I ask a girl out on a date and she rejects me. That isn't what makes me sad. What makes me sad or regretful is that I didn't even try it. And it's not always that I think about the what could have been, etc. I just bums me out, and I'm much more at peace with. I'm much more at peace with. Hey, I tried. I didn't just stew around in the what ifs. I didn't just think about. Essentially, didn't just think, oh, I'm going to be rejected anyway. Why bother? Been hurt so many times. I never want to get hurt again. That's not true. It's quite the opposite. I've been hurt so much that there's no sense in being afraid of that. There's no sense in not trying because you get hurt because I've been hurt and I've survived and I've learned and I've grown. Not always. This is true. Definitely, definitely later on in my life have I actually truly started to really learn from pain, learn from suffering, learn from shame, etc. And not always. Again, no perfection, absolutely no perfection, but improved or seen where at least tried to see where you can be better and not make those same mistakes as much. And truly consistently. I think most people do want consistency. I think nobody really expects perfection. There would be the sense of am I consistently loving and kind to people? Yeah. Or someone I could have that reputation. It doesn't mean that I'm perfectly never. I think the whole phrase doesn't have a mean bone in his body is definitely hyperbole. Because people do. People do. I am of the opinion that some people don't, but I think they're a very small percentage of the population. For the most part, everyone does have their moments. At the very least, dang, these levels, man. I don't know what it is about me and the temples. I just can't get with it. But anyway, I think nobody expects perfection. They would just want consistency, and that's the whole thing with what always such a hypocrite is someone who claims to talks a lot about being loving and kind and generous, and I'm that great of a guy, but people see this person in action and they're just like, you're not. You are. That's hypocritical. Hypocritical is not just, oops, he made a mistake. Some people can be like that. Some people are so consumed by, or at least at the very, or led by whatever, that they do say that. They're just like, oh, mistakes, imperfection equals hypocrisy. That's that's the farthest thing from the truth. I think people are oftentimes just consumed by vengeance and darkness in their lives. Again, this is not some sort of knock on anyone per se. This is just, again, what I have observed and come to be my convictions. But I think that we all should give each other a lot of breaks, because everybody is imperfect, and everybody is truly striving to be. No, I think most people are trying to strive to be the best person they can be, live out their convictions. And while yes, some people are just just trying to survive, just trying to live another day, not buy the farm before the escrow is over. Whatever correct metaphor analogy that's supposed to be. We're all just living, and I think the phrase "live and let live" can apply to the majority of people. There definitely are some instances where it's like you can't just let that go by. You have to say something about that. That's true. But again, we're talking about imperfections and somebody just making a mistake versus somebody truly being cruel, etc., to a point where it's like doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the person won't change. You have, again, it's truly like being. I wish I had said that versus I wish I didn't say that. There's no, there truly is no sense in not speaking out against something. Honestly, the fear of man takes a long, long time to get over, and I don't believe. Again, you people truly, truly get over it. I fear no man or even no God. So yeah, for the most part, everyone has to a lesser or bigger extent a fear of, will I be isolated? Will I be kicked out of a group, etc. But the truth really is, most people have their secure friend groups, or at the very least, their family, their tribe, whatever you want to call it. They have that. So to be afraid of somebody kind of outside of that intimate circle, disregarding them, that isn't right. That isn't worth it. Because that doesn't matter in the long run. You essentially can't have everyone like you or strive for that, because that's impossible. You have to know that there is always someone there for you. There's always, hopefully, multiple people, but for the most part, even the lonest of wolves have somebody. Whether it's just I trust one person, whatever, they have that. So that should be enough. But oftentimes, human beings are just covetous and covetousness and greed, the same thing, I guess, same spirit, to a point to where that does get clouded. They just tend to focus in on the moment, living in the moment in a bad way, to where reality doesn't necessarily settle in or even support what's going on. They're just like, oh, this person, I have doth failed, and so then everything is over for me. And that isn't true. There is always, in terms of speaking your piece or trying to get a message out, there's always multiple chances, multiple tries. It is true with some things in life are just one and done, pass fail. But there, for the most part, there is always time to try again. Just like the world is big and expansive, and I realize that a lot of people don't always see outside of their own little worldview, or even say their state, their cities, etc.'s worldview. So sometimes they can think like, oh, something the world's going to heck in a handbasket, and there is. What would I just say? Hell on that. That's the appropriate use of that word. Anyway, uh, so but then again, I've really been noticing that it's like, no, what? Yeah, current moment is this current moment, this space is in a bad space, but can we do something to improve it? Sure, you can. And also, just at the very least, if you're not going to, or if there isn't anything you can do, be comforted by the fact that outside of your limited worldview, there are other people who are improving the world, sustaining it in a positive way, and it's not necessarily a hell in a handbasket scenario. This isn't. There's tons of. I do not want to ignore the problem of pain, war, famine. All the darkness in the world, all the division, all the hippie. Yeah, we all need to go back in the Tower of Babel, dude. But like, not. But there, it's hard. I think the way that the world is, where the world is, coexistence can never really happen. But is there a way where we can all work together, yet still remain an individual collective? Yeah, I think though it would take a lot of sacrifice, and people aren't willing to do that. I know I know I'm not. I know there is so much about my little world that I just love, and it takes a lot to get out of that. I know that I've definitely become way less selfish and way less routine centered than I used to be. That doesn't mean though. Try to. Okay, come on, come on, come on. Okay, okay, just go. I need to just do this. I need to try. I need to try again. Just try. Oh, I must. Again. Um, Shoot. But anyway, yeah, I noticed I've become way more adjustable. There was a time where it was like go to bed at 8:30. Can't go to bed any earlier. Can't do it. You get up at 6:30. That was years ago. But to a way less like strictly OCD sense, I've been comfortable and like unwilling to be uncomfortable, and that's not particularly cool. That's not a way to really live and experience life the way you're really meant to. You have to be adjustable. You have to be able to hear people out and coexist with them in a way. Especially say in that sense, I mean, say you're staying at someone else's house and they say like, oh, all we have to eat are vegetables, and you're a huge meat, or say maybe to a less extreme sense, you get a pull out, you're stuck with a pull out bed or floor instead of an actual bed. You have to adjust to that, and I can definitely attest to it that there was a time where the whole entire experience could be ruined, and this is just so like wow, how young are you anyway? Where my whole experience of something would be ruined or tainted severely or the fact that I didn't have a nice bed to sleep on. Sad, right? That's and maybe that sad isn't the fairest thing to say. It's more like just really immature. Because it's understandable that little kids and younger folks happen to be like they shouldn't be. You get kids used to a routine, stability, etc. That makes sense. But you also have to teach them about adjustment. You also have to make sure they're able to handle change and instability because that happens in life. I would say, unless you're a super recluse or something like that, you if you live your life as most people do, there will inevitably be change and uncomfortableness, and dare I say suffering. Dare I say you will not always love where you are at. You will not always have, yes, there it is, control. That was the word I was looking for. You will not always have 100% control over. You definitely have you definitely have co-control. You'll definitely have some form of uh, you have a say in what happens to you. You always do, but there are definitely times where you definitely concede the wheel to other people, and you have to trust that. You have to trust that wherever you are at, because especially if you do have a decent amount of like control and stability and clarity in your life, you would make choices that you would partner with people and go places that wouldn't particularly hurt you. So you have to really know and trust that these people have your best interest in mind. And I know I can speak for myself and say that that's surprisingly difficult, whether it's been like instability in childhood or whatever happened, like you had some big, or even like say you had this beautiful, great, stable childhood, truly not just like speaking in hyperbole, but you truly had like great parents, stable household, whatever it is, like tons of friends growing up, like a perfect blessed. It's a wonderful life, everybody. Haha, Merry Christmas, you beautiful couch. You truly, because those exist. They really do. Like, they really do. There's a reason why the cleavers are a stereotype because there's a real sense of that. It isn't just like you have to work at it and cultivate it. It's not just like it happens for you and you just watch back. You just sit back and watch life unfold in that way. You have to work to be a healthy cleaverous family. Anyways, Bunny Trail. Uh, you have to, because even the most stable people like that have problems, and you have to learn to be okay with that, and have change, and to have, darn it, I really did lose where I was going with that, but to really just tie it off and really move on to another subject. No matter how good and perfect your life is, we live in an imperfect world. We live in a fallen world. And you have to be prepared to deal with those things in a healthy, productive manner. You have to move. You have to just not always just keep moving and I pushed through and nothing really came out of it. You just have to handle life in a good way, or else your quality of life will suffer extremely. You'll be very limited. You just will not live the full life you're meant to. And there are even perspectives. One can fairly argue to me, like, well, what about people who got paralyzed and they're stuck in there? Again, it's really hard because again, I'm definitely not saying people who have true blue mental issues and like they just can't smile, because it's truly. I'm definitely not saying. I guess I'm mostly speaking for people who have the control and just really don't think they do, and I think I might have touched on this on another video, but those people who are stable and you need to help people who aren't. You need to come alongside with you need to come alongside your friend and help them carry their burden. You need to. You can't carry it for them. You can't. You're not them. But you absolutely it is truly your duty as a human being whose chemicals are firing who are firing on the straight edge. It's your duty to come alongside, not to change, not to transform, not to berate, not to say, "Come on, I'm happy. Why aren't you?" Not to be that, but it is your responsibility to support, not necessarily enable either, but to support. Because there definitely are the people who, again, truly aren't. They just think they are, and you don't want to enable that. You want to definitely, but you don't want to strong arm or force anybody to change because you can't. It doesn't work. Usually, the more you strong arm, the more someone withdraws and just says, "You hurt me." That's very kind of mockery. I do apologize for that, but you have to take everything. You really have to. Empathy is so important. I know there are some people who don't have it, literally, not even like in the sociopathic unhealthy way. There are just some people who do not have it, and they're not bad people for not having it. So even there are ways you can learn, you can change your brain. There are some things you can truly overcome in life, and it takes a long time for your brain to rewire itself. Essentially, it's usually not. I was an unthinking, unfeeling creature, and one day I woke up, then I literally decided I wanted to change that, and then the next day when I woke up, I felt loved and beauty and etc. It generally doesn't work that way, and even when it does, it's not always stuff that's super. You don't have a whole personality mindset overhaul in a day. Little things that eventually add up to awesomeness. Is that even the right phrasing there, or something positive? That happens. Those so, little things can start to happen overnight or within a minute, hour, whatever, and they add up to your goal. So yeah, never be afraid to celebrate little victories, but also don't be like, yay, that happened, so I'm done. I am a complete human being. I am exactly who I wish to be and who I know I should be, etc. That is not good. That is that is not where, because like the moment you park yourself, the moment you stop growing and changing and evolving is like the minute you think the minute your life, like you really decide, because you don't really get to decide when your life ends. The moment you decide, well, I'm as good as I'll ever be, is just like in the moment life gets boring. And also, I do want to preface that this is in the context of someone who wants to change and like has the strength and the ability. This is not like saying, again, this is not saying like the people who are just they have real legit medical problems and they're not. This is aimed towards definitely towards a certain group of people, for sure. Oh, what? What? That's. Did you see that? Oh, jeez. Brain hemorrhage pops. Or forms. So, anyways, yeah, that's definitely just my 2 cents on that issue, and I really don't want to step on any. I definitely don't want to step on anyone's toes or try or devalue, etc. I don't want to do that. Like, I really am just giving my 2 cents. And I'm here to hope. Like, again, like I said, I'm here to help. I hope, but there's also the chance that I could hurt, and if I ever do that, I truly am sorry. Life is Sorry, I'm just trying to like think about what I felt I had left unsaid that I want to say. Uh, yeah, if you because we truly don't get to decide. For the most part, we don't. I mean, again, like suicide is a hard topic. Again, that's the thing where like you do not, you really don't try to, you really shouldn't just really try to talk somebody out of it and say like your life is precious, etc. All those things are well-meaning. Again, I don't want to say, oh come on, like person doesn't have empathy, etc. People who say that are just, but they're not. It's not true. But someone who is really just despondent and is going to do it has heard it all before, and they kind of laugh at the door. They don't care. That's not what they need. They need your support. They need you. They need your arm around them. That's what they need. They oftentimes need you to shut up because they feel like people have talked to them their whole lives. But yeah, so essentially tying this up, not as clean as I would have thought, but oh well. Support people that need support, and if you can, keep on growing, keep on changing, keep on becoming the person that you are, and realize that you will never fully actualize yourself in this life. You just won't. You will you will die an incomplete person, and that's okay. But as long as you're still trying and succeeding or failing, taking 20 steps forward, going 20 steps backwards, staying in the same place for a little while, as long as it is not just the middle ground and nothing else, I would say you're doing like well. So anyways, wow, philosophical gar games. Again, like I'm that's crazy. I don't know, I'm not apologizing for it, but at the same time, it's I don't think it's particularly what people would come and always expect. They might want something a little more laughy, jokey, like, "Hey, tell us more about something lighter, please. Can we hear about the time you got locked in or that got locked in another Foot Locker? That only happened once. It only happened once." And so yeah, I don't always want to come on here and talk heavy because that's not it. That honestly isn't what people usually come to videos like this for. They can come to watch someone play a game and also kind of get to know their personality, sure. But there also is a sense of like people want to watch this to unwind and laugh. Well, watch these styles of videos to unwind and relax and laugh and not have to think about existential philosophical things. So yeah, I definitely would want to balance it with humor and jokes and lightness. But I also realize that people don't particularly mind at the same time. There is that sense of like this really helped, etc. So I hope to find a nice balance where no one the middle, not too hard, not too soft, but just right. Gargames is my baby bear beggar. The baby bear Goldilocks liked the best. I think it was. It's like Dad was too firm, Mom was too soft. Baby bear was just right. Is there a metaphor in that? Probably. But anyway, we're starting to wind down. This has been a long play, hence the title. So I'm really gonna start to wind down here, and see you guys on the next time. But not quite. I think I'm just gonna go to another game over. Go for another couple more minutes because I'm watching the clock here. I'm seeing like, oh my lord, I've been talking for 40 minutes here, almost 40 minutes. That's insane. If you guys have clicked off by now, I take no umbrage to that. But if you guys have actually stuck by me to the full thing, that's cool. That's awesome. I appreciate you guys. As I've said it nearly every video, I am so grateful for you guys checking this out and that it's extended outside of my little worldview, my little life, my friends and family. It's extended outside of that, and that's really cool to check the analytics and see, oh, someone from the UK or Brazil, etc. Check this out. That's cool to know that maybe they haven't watched the full thing. Again, can't blame them. Maybe they haven't watched the full thing, but to see that someone looks at that and goes, "Huh," is really is quite cool. Again, I never when I hopped on this thing, I thought, okay, no one's really gonna watch these. This is just me having fun, and I'm starting to make. I'm not particularly making money off this, but I'm not particularly. I mean, I'm not at all. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that'd be really cool. But it's really cool to be watched, and I am just really grateful for it, and I hope that I really do hope people have enjoyed it and will continue to enjoy it. And so, yeah, it's just fair to once again say thanks a lot. This is cool, and that's also tying into why I don't want to just talk about stuff I like and have. I just want to make it all about me. I want to make sure that I am reaching. I am doing these videos for someone else besides myself. So I'd make more jokes. I'd tell more funny stories. I'd be lighter. But also knowing that people do appreciate, because again, it is kind of like saying like, wow, someone out there knows exactly what I'm going through and this comforts me, etc. But there also just is like the whole like, nice popcorn, yay, instead of the full course meal of heaviness. I'm having a light snack, yay. But so, anyways, uh, yeah, I am. I'm just. I think I'm gonna end it here, and I will see you guys. I almost did the Michael. See you next video. Bye bye. Not quite, but I will. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys. I love you all.